Welcome back to Wrestling Renaissance. My name is TJ Leo.
And I am your reigning trivia champion, Cole 2K.
Yes, indeed you are. And I feel like you will hold that title for a very long time, sir.
Until the next trivia competition.
Yeah, I wonder when that will be. We'll have to check in with a certain owner of a certain Discord channel.
Yes.
For those of you who've never watched Wrestling Renaissance before every WWE, PLE, and AEW pay-per-view, we talk about the build-up to the shows and make our official predictions. And on subsequent shows, we break down the results and see how we fared in our predictions and rate each match on the Co-op Entertainment Review scale of 1 to 10. And on today's show, we've got both results and predictions. We've got results for AEW Full Gear, which was this past Saturday, and we will have WWE Survivor Series predictions, which is this upcoming Saturday. So we got a big show today. Lots to talk about. So let's dive right in to AEW Full Gear results, starting with the AEW Tag Team Championship, which was the Private Party defending against the Outrunners, the Acclaimed, and the House of Black, or whatever the heck they're calling themselves these days. Kings of the Black Throne.
The Kings of the Black Throne honoring the House of Black.
Honoring the House of Black, yes. Even though there's only 3 people in the House of Black, right?
I guess technically 4 with Julia Hart
eventually
returning. Yep.
That is true.
I guess hopefully she cleans the House of Black.
All right. So this match, we talked about the build-up to it not really having a build-up. It was basically just, more of this fatal 4-way gobsmack AEW stuff. Nothing really crazy. The match itself was decent, I thought. Didn't blow me away. It wasn't one of the best fatal 4-way tag team matches I've ever seen. But it was decent.
There was actually less not car crash, but chaos. Less chaos than I expected.
Yeah, it was much more of a regular tag team match than most fatal 4-way tag team matches are, which is interesting. I don't have very much to say in terms of like highlights of the match, but I thought it was decent. Do you have any specific thoughts on it?
No real specific thoughts. No real specific spots that really stick out of my head. It was just not that it was a letdown. It was actually better than what I was expecting. Like I said, I was just expecting a lot more chaos and a lot more everybody getting their shit in.
Yeah, kind of thing. Exactly. But it was actually pretty decent for what it was. Yep. I gave it like a 6. It was above average.
6. Yeah. Yep. If 5 is average, I give it a 6.
And the winners walked away keeping their AEW Tag Team Championship. Private Party still champions. How did we do on our predictions?
As far as our predictions, I was hoping the Outrunners would capture their or would continue their momentum and overness, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And you thought Private Party was going to keep it. You thought the Private Party was too soon to lose it. You picked Private Party for 3, and I picked Outrunners for 1.
Oh, okay.
And just like the last WWE pay-per-view, I have not calculated the results yet, so
we do not know the winner.
We are learning this as we go.
Yes, that is the way to do it. All right, 3-0 for me. 3-0 for your defending champ. Still champ. All right, next up. I don't know if these were in order. I just have them in the same order that we did the predictions in, so I'm just going to stick with that.
Next one was MJF and Roderick Strong.
Okay, let's go with that one then. So MJF versus Roderick Strong. This was a lot earlier on the show than I was anticipating. I thought it was going to be a little bit later, but second match of the night, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
It was good. I got everything I expected out of this match. Roderick Strong's fantastic in the ring. MJF is great at entertaining. I really enjoyed it. It was a pretty straightforward match, nothing crazy. Thought it was really good.
Can I just say, MJF he looks bad.
He looks tired.
His hair, his body, um, I don't know what he's taking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly no chemist, but it definitely looks like he's putting something in his body that is having a reaction. Um, he's
He looks an odd color.
he looks like steroids. He looks
I
like
mean that
something
doesn't
like that.
I mean that doesn't surprise me at all.
Um,
He's got all the traits of a steroid user.
Definitely the blemishes,
Yes, the back blemishes
yep,
especially. Yep. Hmm.
on the back on the chest.
Yep.
Definitely looks like he's taking something to make his body look better.
Yeah, and you know, get away with it while you can, because if you ever go to WWE, it
Yep,
won't be happening anymore.
yep,
Um, Pretty sad that AEW is okay with that. But I mean, like,
yep.
look at Powerhouse Hobbs and what's the other guy's name? Brian Cage. Brian Cage is like, oh my god.
I mean, I mean, are they natural? No, because they take supplements and stuff, maybe. But I mean, you know, if either one of them went to WWE right now, I think they would be okay, fine there.
You think they'd pass? Brian
I
Cage
think
looks
they
like a
would,
brick
yeah.
house.
I mean, I know he's really, really strict on his diet and his workout regimen. Not saying that MJF doesn't work out, um, but I think he relies more on
The juice.
chemicals and stuff. Yep, he relies more on the juice than the work, versus Cage
Okay,
and
so you're not
Hobbs.
saying that Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs don't use steroids. You just think that MJF uses
I'm
relies on it a
thinking,
lot more than.
I'm saying they use supplements
Yeah. Okay.
that are clean and not gonna fail a test.
And MJF's just straight up shooting up.
The MJF is just straight up shooting up. Yep,
Yeah, there's no doubt. Looking at
yep,
him, it's sad. I hope he's okay.
yep,
Because he's he's got such a bright future. Like I don't want to see him ruin it. It would suck.
yep.
That being said, the match was good. It was enjoyable, and I think the obvious winner happened. MJF took the win. Um, I enjoyed it. It was good. I gave it like a 7.
Yeah.
I thought it was enjoyable.
I guess I was just expecting more. I was expecting Adam Cole appearance during the match rather
Mm.
than a long time after.
Yeah, I
Um,
know we had discussed that, but I was like, this is a stepping stone to Adam Cole versus MJF, so I don't even.
yeah, but even still, I mean, if with a MJF match, I expect a cheating finish, a dirty finish, um, underhanded means to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat kind of thing from MJF. And it was just a very uh, my notes: a clean win and a boring match was my
Fair.
notes.
I probably rated it higher because the rest of the card, spoilers, was pretty bad, so it stuck out in my mind as one of the better matches of the night. So,
I still
yeah,
I still give it a five.
oh wow,
Five
yeah,
out of 10. Yeah, it was. I was not impressed.
fair enough.
I guess maybe I'm just not really impressed by MJF anymore. He's
Neither am
just
I. I agree.
he's just not special anymore to me. I don't know if he's phoning it in since he got his new contract.
Yeah,
He's
maybe.
constant. He's doing the movies now.
Mm.
Um, he's just not around anymore. He just kind of just screams part time to me, I guess.
Ooh. Well, we'll see what
But yeah,
happens moving
I do
forward.
give it. I give that one a five, and he won by submission. I mean, he just won by clean
Clean
submission.
win. Yeah. How do we do on our predictions?
For predictions, we both, like you said, we both picked MJF. I went for 8, and you went for 6.
Ooh, you did some catching up.
So 8 and 6. You are at 9, and I am at 8.
Damn. All right. anyone's game, but still the champ.
Yep.
All right, what was the next match?
Next match was Mercedes and Chris Statlander.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and this one wasn't actually terrible.
No.
It was Mercedes' best showing, I would say, since she came back.
Yep,
Or
I would
came
definitely
in.
say this was the best Mercedes match that we've had since she came in March.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, it was still nowhere near the quality of her matches in WWE.
No,
But
I mean
it was good
I guess at this point it's just kind of unfair to
compared to her old days.
compare. Yeah, because she's so far up. She's far gone from that. She's so far gone from being Sasha Banks that she's just Mercedes now, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, good match. Cool finish, and Mercedes took the win.
It was clean,
Um,
just
yeah.
like the last match, just like the first two matches, they were clean.
By the skin
No,
of her teeth, though, I will say. Chris Statlander did give
yep.
her a good run for her money,
Stat
but
gave
it wasn't.
her a good run. Mercedes worked on the leg a lot
Yep.
to kind of, take Stat's power out of the match. Kind of a ground game and, really just wore her down and basically just essentially just beat her down at the end.
Yeah, the match had some good spots in it.
Yep.
No serious botches. Um,
Nope.
did really well.
The two made a good match. That's
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
And she won by what?
Um,
She won by what did she win by? Just
it
knocking
was like
her
a
out.
super. It was like a super stretched pin. Like it was like she like sat on her legs. Like it was, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I gave it a 7.
I give it a 7. I'd say it was the surprise of the night
Yep.
for me.
And
Maybe
how
not
did you?
maybe not necessarily the match of the night, but definitely the surprise of the night. Pleasant surprise of the night, I'll say.
I think it was match of the night, but
Hmm.
for different reasons than what I'm. Well, we'll get to it.
I'm sure. I'm sure we will.
We'll get to it. How do we do on predictions on that one?
For picks, you picked Mercedes. Um,
Only for one
I
point
thought
though.
I thought Stat was going to win. I thought they were going to pull the trigger on Stat winning, so I picked her. You picked Mercedes for 1, and I picked Statlander for 2.
Gotcha. So,
So
still the
after
champ.
3, yep. So after 3 matches, you're at
Pulled ahead
10,
by another one.
and I'm at 8.
10-8. 10-8. All right. What was the next match, sir?
Next match was Jay White versus Hangman Page.
Yeah, this one was weird. Um, this is when things started to fall apart in the show for me. The crowd seemed really dead for this one, which makes sense to me because I was under the impression that both of these guys were heels, but I guess they were trying to make Jay White look like a face. I
They
guess.
are pretty much trying to push Jay White in the babyface direction. But
I
he
don't know if
just
it's
still kind of
working.
acts like a heel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
I
I
don't.
mean, that's kind of a thing with AEW. They really don't have definitive heels and baby faces a lot.
And this is why the crowd ends up being confused half the time and doesn't
Yeah.
understand, a story of what's going on because they're not good at it. They're not good at clarifying. And yeah, the match itself was fine, but I was constantly confused, just like the crowd was, of like, who am I cheering for here? Do I care if either of these guys win?
Yeah.
The only thing that I was garnering from it was my own personal views on the two wrestlers, which is I love Adam Page as a wrestler. I think he's fantastic. And I'm not a huge fan of Jay White. And I know that Jay White has many more wins on Adam Page than Adam Page has on Jay White. So I was like, well, I'm cheering for Adam Page in this one.
Yeah.
That's basically how I felt. And when Adam Page lost to Jay White, I was flabbergasted and
Yeah,
do
because
not
the whole
understand the
thing,
booking of this.
yeah, because the whole thing was, they just made it look like Page was going to win.
Yeah,
And, we both kind of thought that Page needed to win after how he's looked since he beat Swerve in the cage at
yeah,
the lights out match.
yeah,
As far as this match went, they both attacked the other one's weakness. Page attacked Jay White's ankle from the start and worked it all throughout the match. And White attacked Page's knee. So they worked a pretty good match. Picked a body part and just worked at it the whole match and just warm out the whole match.
hmm
Um, uh,
The match itself for me would have been decent if there was a clear understanding of what was going on. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, and like you said, that just took away from it.
It
The
did.
lack of a
Yeah.
clear-cut babyface is just a mixed reaction from the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
They chanted for, the crowd chanted for each competitor during the match.
Yeah. And then there was also a lot of downtime in that match where they were silent as the grave.
Yeah.
Very, very
Um,
weird match.
but in the end, Jay White won after a sling blade, or I'm sorry, a Blade Runner.
Yeah.
For the pinfall.
Yeah, very strange outcome.
Yep.
How do we do on predictions?
As far as predictions, we both picked Adam Page, you for 5 and me for 4. So
it's still 10-8.
Still 10-8.
Still leading, still the champ. I'm still okay. All right.
Yep.
I'm hanging in there. All right. What was the next match, sir?
Next match was Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. I'm sure there's some comments on this one.
Oh boy, do I have some comments on this one.
Oh boy. Oh, what would you rate the Jay White Adam Page match?
5. I was just so confused. I was just like, I don't understand this match. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
5.
It felt like an indie exhibition match. It was like, why is this a match? I just didn't understand it.
A 5, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd agree with the 5.
If it had a good story, it probably would have been a 7. But because I wasn't invested in what it was.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. All right, so Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Let me tell you, this match made me mad for many reasons. First of all, Kyle Fletcher has been nobody up until this point. And while they have done a good job of building him up, and he's done a great job of building himself up to this match, the believability of the various false finishes and kickouts in this match were infuriating. I'm sorry, but you cannot take a guy who was nobody, suddenly give him a push, put him in a match with Will Ospreay, and have him kick out of like everything. Will Ospreay did a phenomenal forearm to him. He did the hidden blade. He did. I lost count of the sick, high caliber moves that were being done on this guy, and he was kicking out clean of them. And I think at one point, who did the jumping tombstone pile driver onto the steel steps? Who did that on who? I can't remember.
That was towards the end. That was Fletcher did that to Ospreay.
Who kicked out, by the way.
I don't think he kicked out of it, though. I think once he pushed him back in the ring, that's when he did the brainbuster move, whatever, off the top rope onto the turnbuckle.
No. I'm 90. Check. You can check it, but I'm 90% sure that he just threw him in the ring, went for the pin, and kicked out, and then he went towards this turnbuckle thing because I remember specifically going, okay, that was the point at which I had enough and was like, okay, this is just stupid. You are lowering the impact of so many finishers in the industry right now in this one match. The phenomenal forearm. You took a tombstone pile driver, made it into a jumping tombstone pile driver, and then added the steps, and it didn't kill him. I was like, I was so mad. I'm like, come on,
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
just
you go from watching one show where a performer gives another one just a little small package pile driver,
yeah,
and they have to send them out on a stretcher,
yeah,
and
to
you go
AEW.
and you go to another company where they take tombstones, where they take where they take a regular pile driver, and you'll see it later on in this pay per view. You kick out, and 10 seconds later, you're standing fighting
Yeah,
like you took a clothesline. It's
it's
unreal.
it's yeah,
It's
it's
just
infuriating. I don't
yeah.
understand how these guys like Will Ospreay, like you're one of the best wrestlers in the
He's
world.
so good. He's so athletic.
You
He's so good.
cannot take
He
that away
can
from
make
him.
you care.
But then he
He's
does
so good.
crap like this. But I don't. This is what makes me mad too. Is I don't know who's doing the producing. It's like, did you guys decide like before the match that you were going to do all these crazy finishers and kickouts, or was this done on the fly, or was this written by a producer for the match? Because whoever was the decision maker in that, it should be shot. Like, you're just ruining the business completely.
Yeah.
No one's going to give a shit about any move you do again and believe you're gonna get pinned by it because you've taken every move that's high, like a high caliber 5-star move, and you've kicked out of it. So
Yeah.
what's a finisher now? There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a finisher in AEW apparently, because you can use your finisher, AJ Styles' finisher, Undertaker's finisher, and you won't beat your opponent.
Right.
I was so mad. I just I hated it. I hated it. And then on top of that, Kyle Fletcher wins. He wins.
After so many matches that he lost on TV. But
My jaw was on the floor.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is if Will Ospreay won, what would have been next? That's the only thing that I can
He should
think
be
of.
going after a title. I mean, Ospreay shouldn't be in matches with Kyle Fletcher. Right? He should be in the main event. Like
I mean, I guess they're trying to build up Kyle Fletcher, but you should have had him winning matches
yeah,
leading up to this
yeah. It just
instead of
all of a
losing to
sudden Kyle Fletcher's
Ricochet.
just a
Yeah,
beast.
yeah,
You know, kicking out of all these things, and then he wins against Will Ospreay. Like I just hated it. Hated it. I was so steaming, man.
yep,
Oh my god. And it sucks because I love Osprey and Kyle Fletcher's build up and his work ethic has been so phenomenal leading up to this match that I was just like, you guys have the opportunity here to tell an amazing story. And instead,
yeah.
you went out there and you did an indie fucking spot fest and I
Definitely
just
an indie-rific.
yeah, so infuriating. Oh god. Yeah. Rant over. I was so mad. How'd you feel about it?
It was frustrating. I mean, definitely frustrating, confusing.
Yeah.
I know Osprey can't win every match, but I don't know.
But why Kyle Fletcher? It made no sense.
I guess he was
In
doing a favor to
WWE, one
his.
of these, no, sorry, in WWE, one of these matches would be Will Ospreay makes Kyle Fletcher look great, but still wins.
Right.
But in the AEW world, apparently you just feed your stars to the lower stars, and that's what gets them over. No,
Yep.
no. And we're going to see more of that shit tonight, let me tell you.
Oh, I'm sure.
This isn't the first confusing rant that
Yep.
that I'm going to have.
That's for sure.
That being said, if I took Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher in a vacuum and I ignored professional wrestling, like everything around it, then the match was fantastic. But that's not where we live.
No, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, frustrating. I give it like a 2. It
Oh, you
was
can't go that low.
it was insulting to fan intelligence. It was hurtful to the industry. It was hurtful to all of those finishers that they used. 2. And then the wrong man won. Like it was terrible. I hated it. Hated it.
I give it 6.
6. Okay.
6.
Yeah.
It was average to above average.
So just to clarify, the 2 is not reflective of the in-ring prowess that was displayed, because there was some phenomenal moves, amazing athletic ability, crazy spots, so on and so forth. But if I'm looking at the match as a whole, from booking to storytelling, it's a 2. I just can't. I can't do it.
A 6.
All right.
6 with all that for me.
Fair. So Ospreay lost. So how did we do on our prediction?
Well, we both thought Ospreay was going to win. You for 4, me for 5. So we both missed out. Again.
We are stuck at this 10-8. Still the champion.
Yes, we are.
Still the champion. Okay.
I've only hit 1.
Man, yeah, this is
the first 4.
This is a poor performance for us, but it's also bad booking so far.
Next thing we had was not the match; it was the champagne celebration
mm-hmm.
with Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa,
which was okay. I don't want to be too harsh on this segment. Because it wasn't great. It definitely did not need to be on the pay-per-view.
No.
This was definitely something that should have been on Dynamite. I
think it's definitely fair and not a slam. Not a jab. I mean, can't think of the word.
Yeah, not an insult.
It's not an insult to say that it should have been either on the pre-show or on the or just on Dynamite.
No, not at all.
I think if you have it, I think having it on the main pay-per-view kind of made you think that something else was going to happen.
Yeah,
maybe like a Tony Storm return or something like that.
Yeah.
But if with what happened, it was just kind of that's it.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all we get, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it wasn't done very well. It was done fine. It was fine,
Yeah.
But
it sets up what's going to be next. A feud between the two.
Mariah May grabbing the bottle, and standing there didn't work as well as it could have if she had done it more suddenly, in my opinion.
Yeah, she kind of just stood there for a few seconds.
It was too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that was Mariah May's fault for grabbing for getting into position too quickly, or if that was what's her name?
Mina
taking too long to turn around. Yeah. I don't know what that was, but like it lasted too long.
Yeah, it just looked a little clunky.
Yeah, I would have preferred if she had grabbed or if she had done it more suddenly, to take the crowd off guard. Yeah, that's all it was. She turned on Mina. Mina dodged it, which is funny,
and then kicked the bottle out of her hand.
That was cool.
Then they just stood and stared at each other for about 5 seconds, and then
brawled a little
bit. Somewhat speared her off the ramp and onto one table and kind of through the second one.
Yeah, bounced off the first table.
Yeah,
I heard the thwack. I was like, ooh, that's gotta hurt.
and it looked like a really rough landing.
Yeah, it did.
But the visual afterwards looked good. You know, Mina was
Yeah,
kind of bleeding from her mouth.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, that to me, honestly, for Mina was almost like a Six Tsunamis or a Austin 316 moment for she could have or a
Becky Lynch when she was bleeding from
yeah,
her busted
that's
nose.
exactly what I was thinking. Becky
Yeah,
Lynch with the nose. I'm like that if they take that, they could make something of that.
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
she
The
she
visual
could
was
now
great.
come yeah, she could now come out with makeup that has the blood dripping down
Yeah,
from her mouth as part of her gimmick now, because that would be sick.
yeah,
Take advantage of shit like that that's unexpected, but they
yeah.
won't. It's AEW. They won't take advantage of it.
You know, they'll make a T-shirt of it, and just like the one they did with Britt Baker with what looks like a battered woman
Yeah. Yeah, it's
on
God,
the
that was
T-shirt.
terrible.
So you got people walking around with a T-shirt with a battered woman on
Better
it.
woman on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So no ratings or predictions on this, but
Nope.
good to note because I
Yep.
completely forgot about that. All right, what was up next?
Next match we had the 18-minute classic between
Oh no.
Daniel Garcia and Jack Perry.
Oh man. Okay. Um. All right. So I was starting to believe in Daniel Garcia. Um, but I don't anymore. uh, his. How do I describe this? The match was fine. Um, I don't like his overacting at all. That's the way I would describe how he elicits emotional reaction and story tells. He lays it on a little too thick, in my opinion.
Think so?
When he was trying to get back to the ring, when he was like something happened on the outside of the ring and he was almost counted out, and he was like dragging himself back. I didn't buy it. It felt fake to me. And he does this a lot in the match where I'm just like, you're not making yourself look tough or stronger by doing what you're doing. Like a lot of people can do that. But for me with him, it makes him look weak because he's always got this like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Kind of like I don't know. Something about him I don't like with all that acting. I don't like it. Sorry that I'm moving around a lot, by the way.
You know who he
Uh,
kind of reminds me of as far as
Back's
the
killing me.
selling, the
Yeah, yeah, it's
the
selling. Yeah,
the facials, the visuals, the really trying to fight from underneath. Sami Zayn.
yeah. Yeah. And I don't like that either.
Nope, me neither.
I get that same vibe. That's a really good comparison. I get that
It's
same vibe.
just kind of a little bit smaller, um, but he
Yeah, he is
just
definitely
always
smaller. Yeah.
tries to be the underdog. And it's not that it's hard to be the underdog against Jack Perry, but when you're the same size as him, maybe even
Hmm.
a little bit bigger, you're
Yeah.
really not really fighting from underneath.
No. Yeah, maybe that was part of the problem was that he was fighting Jack Perry, and
Yeah,
being an underdog against Jack Perry is it's too early for that in
yeah.
Jack Perry's career. That's a good point. Didn't even think about that dynamic. That could be
Um,
a big problem.
and I know we kind of touched on it earlier, but this was one of the match. Garcia did a pile driver to Jack Perry. He kicked out at 2, and 5, 10 seconds later,
Back up
Jack
and
Perry was
running.
just up fighting and
Yeah,
selling it like nothing ever happened.
yeah,
Like he kicked out after a clothesline.
yeah.
And
I'm a little ranted out
yeah,
by at this point with that
yeah.
that particular problem, but yeah, I completely same problem. Yeah.
And then he ended
Um,
up tapping out to a sharpshooter.
which I thought was a pretty cool ending, honestly.
Sure.
Because the sharpshooter looked good, first of all, and he
Yeah.
was working on his back and stuff like that, so that was
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, yeah, um,
Yep. You had the heel tapping out.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to build him up as a babyface, you have the heel tap out, and
Yeah.
that's what he did to win the title.
Yeah, it was a good ending.
Yep.
But yeah, lots of problems with the match for sure.
Yep.
And I agree, it was too long.
As far as a rating, I would give that. If I had to do a whole number, I'd go 5.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 5.
I agree.
I want to say 5.5, but if we got to go whole numbers,
yes,
5.
I agree with the 5. How do we do on predictions?
As far as picks, we both like Garcia, and we both thought, we both put 7 on it.
Oh, so, no.
7-7.
We still have not moved. We're still at 2 point apart.
Have not moved. Yep.
Which means I'm still in the lead, though.
So you're at 17, and I'm at 15.
Damn, this is close. This is close. All right. What was up next?
Next match was Konosuke Takeshita defeated Ricochet.
That's right. This was announced after our show, so we did not do predictions for this particular match.
Yep.
So I assume there was no storyline since this was just put together at the last second.
It's somewhat. Takeshita wrestled at the Maple Leaf Pro show last month, and that was the new Canadian promotion from Scott D'Amore. Ricochet came out and attacked Takeshita. Yep, with Mauro being the over-the-top announcer.
I love him.
Yep. I don't dislike him because he's Canadian. He's just over the top.
I would hope not. I would assume not. I don't think you would do this show if you were racist against Canadians.
No. But yeah, Ricochet, he's kind of fighting the Don Callis family. And Takeshita, you coming into it, it's going to be a nice athletic match, and basically just the same thing as Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the crowd just wasn't that much into it.
This crowd was dead.
Yep.
Absolutely dead. They had no idea what to think.
It was basically, Ospreay Fletcher Part 2.
Yeah.
And they were just not into it.
Just shitloads of crazy moves.
Yep.
But without anyone giving a rat's ass about the outcome.
And this one was 19 minutes in itself, so.
My God, yeah, way too long.
Definitely kind of carried on.
For a match that was thrown onto the card at the last second, that's way too long. You gave them longer than Perry and Daniel. That's crazy.
Takeshita won. He hit a power driver knee and then added an avalanche Falcon Arrow for the pinfall.
Yep. This is another one of those matches that, in a vacuum, would be probably pretty good.
Yep.
But we don't live in a vacuum. We live in the world of storytelling and baby faces and heels and all this good stuff. And this match just wasn't worthy of a pay-per-view.
Nope.
Which happens a lot with AEW. They like to just cram everything in there.
Love to jam the matches.
Yeah.
What's your rating?
I give it I don't even know, man. I guess it's another 5 because it's maybe even a 4, honestly.
5.
It was just it was average, but I can't give it an average rating because the crowd didn't care and I didn't care. I'm gonna give it a 4. An average would just be that was okay, but it wasn't. That's just no one cared, So I'll give it a 4.
5 for me.
All right. Next match.
Next match was Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley.
Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go again. All right. No, so seriously though, the match itself was not bad. It was actually pretty good. It was a good outing for Lashley's first AEW match. However, as we have discussed numerous times on this show, when we look back at the year and look at the divergence of Swerve Strickland from the title and go, okay, after he lost the title, he got into a feud with Adam Page, and then Adam Page decimated him in that all-out cage match, right?
Yep.
And then both of them, Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, have gone on to lose at subsequent shows, subsequent pay-per-views. And now we're here at Full Gear, and both Adam Page and Swerve Strickland have lost again.
Yep.
So you have taken two of your biggest stars and had them lose for the last 3 or 4 pay-per-views, and one of them was one of your longest reigning AEW champions of all time.
Yep. A pretty heralded
Title reign.
champion, just because he was the first black champion, black world champion in your company,
and he was great. He's one of AEW's like homegrown stars. Like I'm not saying that Swerve started in AEW, he definitely didn't, but like the Swerve we know now is grown in AEW. The main eventer is in AEW.
Made a big name for himself.
Yeah.
He
and
came
now
from
they're just doing nothing.
And far exceeded anything that we thought he would do in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have someone from WWE come in and beat him. Clean.
And pretty convincingly, even though it was a 13-minute match.
Yeah, which, by the way, that's another thing. You gave 19 minutes to Konosuke and Ricochet, and you gave 18 minutes to Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia, and then you only give 13 to Swerve and Bobby? Okay.
20 minutes to Jay and Hangman.
So yeah, 20 minutes to act like
nearly
my brain,
20 minutes to Mercedes and Stat.
Yancey is in our chat right now, and he says TJ's just shaking his head, looking down like, Lord have mercy. It's so true, man. I just, there's the decisions that they make in AEW just baffle me. They're just such weird booking decisions. So yay, Swerve loses again. His stock continues to plummet. He still has no real direction. Okay.
We'll see what happens coming out of this. We're recording this the same night as Dynamite, so we're not really able to, see what the fallout is tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that this week.
For sure. But the match itself was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. But we knew coming into this that no matter who won, it would suck for the person who lost. So
yeah, because Lashley needed to win coming in, and Swerve, hard to take another loss.
Yeah, brutal, just brutal.
And Bobby won with his hurt lock.
Yep.
By technical submission.
Yeah, how do we do on predictions?
For picks, you picked Lashley for 2. I picked Lashley for 3.
Oh no! We still have a 1-point gap. What the heck? But I'm still champion. I'm still
20.
Champion.
No, I'm sorry. You put 2, so you have 19, and I have 18.
Yep, 1-point gap. All right, What was the next match? I think it's only the main event, right?
It is the main event.
The main
Jon Moxley
event
versus Orange Cassidy.
And I have a lot to say about this one too. Oh boy. You know what? I've been leading this entire time. Do you want to start, or should I go on another rant?
I'll take it. All
right, go for it. I'm gonna sit back.
And then, nope, we missed that one. Got that one. Okay, yep. The night of the pay-per-view, I had kind of dozed off during a couple matches, so I kind of had to go back and watch this one back in full. For the most part, it was a decent match. You knew that everybody wanted Orange Cassidy to win, and you knew that John Moxley was a bad guy. The fans still cheered for Moxley because he's John Moxley, but um, you know, between the commentary and just the way that they acted, you knew that Orange Cassidy was the one fighting for the company. Um, Moxley just beat the snot out of him, made him bleed, scratched him. He just made him bleed, and eventually just wore him down and won the match. Nothing special, nothing bad. It was an okay match. Um,
It was
of
decent.
course, you got what you expected towards the end, a bunch of schmaz and a bunch of interference and tomfoolery and chicanery and shenanigans and all those big words you want to use. Basically, a big cluster. So you eventually got what you thought you were going to get and a big schmaz and Moxley winning. And then the extra stuff after that. So you can take it from there.
Let me out. No, I agree with you. The match itself was decent. Um, I I was waiting for more of a moment that made me would convince me that Orange could potentially win. It happened one time, but it was very brief, and it was when he came out with the orange punch at some point. There was a random orange punch that knocked him absolutely loopy, and I was like, "Oh, maybe? Nah." But it was a very brief one. And I was waiting for them to have Orange make a huge comeback. But it really didn't happen. So that was disappointing for me. Um, it was kind of always obvious to me that Moxley was going to win, but there's always that little hope that you have that they might do a swerve and have Orange finally win the big one. But this wasn't it. But let me tell you, that post match craziness was, I don't even know where to begin. Don't even know where to begin. What was the first? What was the lineage of things that happened? So many people got involved.
So you had Claudio, Pac, and Marina um, came out and got involved, and then you had the rest of the conglomeration come out and fight with,
Yeah,
kind of fight them off.
which makes
You,
sense. They're with Orange Cassidy, so
yep.
far makes sense.
You had um, Orange Cassidy get a hold of the briefcase.
Yeah.
He knocked down Moxley, and
Hmm.
that's when you thought that he was going to win.
Yeah, that was the moment
Yep.
where I was like,
And
oh
then you
shit,
had Wheeler Yuta take out.
screwed him. Yeah,
Yep, you had Wheeler take out Cassidy,
yeah,
and that's what caused Moxley to be able to pin
yeah.
Cassidy.
And then immediately following the match, someone came down.
Yep, and then after that, you had the Death Riders attempt to poison Orange Cassidy. The commentary
Yeah,
said it
okay,
was.
let's start there. Hold on, I
Yep,
forgot about that part. Yeah,
yep.
they're throwing, what was it in his face?
Uh, they said that it was the chemical that they cleaned the ring apron with, or
Yeah,
the ring
the
mat,
cleaner.
whatever,
I was like,
or
what
the
the?
cleaner.
So I guess the
Uh,
Death Riders gimmick is just
Death to try to
they're
kill him.
they're just murderers, attempted murderers
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
okay to do this shit.
yep.
Okay,
And then,
interesting.
of all people, Hangman Page
Yeah,
comes down to make the save.
yeah.
Does
Or
he turn
does he?
face? What does he do? And then Christian Cage comes down to
Yeah.
tease cashing in his title opportunity.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of cool. Christian Cage, right? Not so fast, my friends. Jay White comes down to stop that from happening.
And wasn't there a moment where Christian and Adam Page like exchanged the contract or something?
I think the contract came
It's in like a
off
little
of
metal
the
case thing.
yeah, it like came out of the case or something. Um, Page picked it up, gave it to Cage, and Cage pretty much kind of saying, "You'll get the first chance. Like you'll get the
First
first
shot
title
at the
shot
title.
after I win." Yeah,
And then he didn't cash it in time.
you didn't cash it in.
And that's when Jay White came down.
Yep. And
And
then
then Cage ran away.
yeah, Page ran off.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and meanwhile, Moxley and the rest of the Death Riders went through the crowd and backstage.
And Jay
Cut
White
to
just kind of like
backstage.
picked his nose,
Yeah,
not sure what to do
yeah. So then, cut to backstage to where the Death Riders are trying to get to their truck.
to
And
leave.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden, out of the side, you see a car speeding up and crashing into their truck. And they just happen to, the Death Riders just happen to be next to the valet stand because, they have valet backstage. It's for the talent parking, right?
Sure.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And they figure out which car, which keys belong to the closest car magically. And they speed off. And coming out of the wreckage of the wreck, Darby Allin, who I guess showed up late to the show, uh, starts yelling at them as they drive away. And that's it.
Where do we even start on how bad that was?
Um,
It was so terrible. I was so confused.
yeah,
And so
it
the
was.
crowd, by the way, dead. Dead as a
Yeah,
doornail.
it was
They were
just.
like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
Wasn't it something? I think you said something last show. Or you may have said it multiple times on this show at this point. AEW does crazy stuff, but just because it doesn't make does just because it doesn't or just because it's shocking doesn't mean it doesn't need to make sense. And it seems like 90% of the time when they do one of these surprise, you're like, huh? Instead of oh, you know what I
yeah,
mean? In WWE, you go, oh, he's here. In AEW, you go, huh? Why is he here? It's like it's such night and day to me. Like Adam Page comes out and I'm like, okay, why is he here? And then Christian Cage comes out and I'm like, okay, he's gonna cash in. Why are they not? Okay, now he's got the contract. Okay, here comes Jay White and doesn't give a shit about Adam Page, even though they just had a match. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And the whole thing with the contract for the
Yeah,
title, it's like you, you have to sign it and then cash it in, or do you cash it in and then sign it? I don't know.
yeah. It's not money in the bank, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And
no,
and then
it's not just it's not just as simple as here's here's my briefcase. I'm cashing it in. It's
yeah,
like
yeah. It's like, hold on, I gotta get my pen.
yeah.
My pen's
Oh,
not working. Oh shit.
anybody have a pen?
Yeah,
Anybody have a pen? Yeah,
yeah. It's fucking
yeah,
weird. And then, like you said, Darby shows up late to the show. It's like, why would
huh?
Darby show up late to the show?
Why not?
And and I love how the car itself had like all of the Darby skulls all over it, and everyone was like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Who the fuck do you think it is? It's fucking Darby Allin."
Yeah,
And then he actually apparently drove the car.
that's
Apparently,
what the word is. Yeah,
I just I said it on I don't know who I said it to, but I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, AEW doesn't even feel like AEW anymore. Does that make sense? Like
yeah,
if you were to rewind 2 years ago and look at AEW
Much
and
less
look at it.
5 years.
What's that?
I said much less 5 years ago.
Yeah, much less 5 years ago, right? It's like AEW right now is the worst it's been in its entire history, and it doesn't look like AEW at all. Like, where did all this like attempted murder shit come from? Where did all this bad and terrible storytelling come from? Where did all these bad booking decisions come from? Uh, what happened? Who did they lose that was keeping things sane? I don't know who it was, but there's a lot of names that have left. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, who Kenny Omega's not there right now because he's been injured. Who's
And that's kind
who's
of when it
missing?
started, was Cody.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was like the downward trend started at that point. So it was like, was Cody keeping the maturity, backstage high, and once he left, everyone was like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man, but it's really sad because, these people that have recently signed with AEW for long-term contracts like MJF, now Ricochet, and like it sucks so bad for me to watch these guys get locked in for however many years that they've signed in, and it just continues to get shittier and shittier and shittier, and I'm just like, I don't even know. Do I even want to watch the next show? I think I was talking to Amanda recently, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't even watch it anymore. It's free, but I don't really give a shit."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know why I'm watching it. It's terrible. Um, as far as the
Ready?
match goes, I give it a 6. The match itself was above average. It was decent.
5.
Yeah.
5.
I wanted to believe more that Orange would win, but it didn't happen. It wasn't good enough convincing. It wasn't convincing enough for me.
Yeah.
WWE is so much better at doing that kind of thing where you're like, oh, are they actually going to pull the trigger? On situations like this, and I didn't feel it. All right, the big moment. Oh wait, you gave it a 5. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big moment, ladies and gentlemen. How did we do
Well,
on predictions?
we both thought Mox was going to win. Make sure. I had 6. You had 8.
Yes!
So that means
Yes!
by a score of 8, 26. No, wait. No, you had 19. Okay. 8. 27. I'm trying to give myself more points here. What am I doing?
Don't cheat now.
To
I feel like I
24.
won by 3 or 4.
Yeah. 27 to 24, your winner. And still
The
champion.
first.
The first successful title defense. TJ Leo.
If you smell what the champ is cooking. But it might not be a long title reign, let me tell you, because we are already ready to move into another pay-per-view. Before we go into that, though, what overall thoughts of Full Gear? I thought it was one of the worst pay-per-views AEW's ever done. So many disappointments, just massive insults to my intelligence and the industry in general. And
My reaction to you winning, though?
Someone had to be the first.
Yes, someone had to be the first.
Someone had to be the first.
I'm still the trivia champion, though.
You are the trivia champion. This is definitely a true statement. You absolutely destroyed me on that.
Like you said, it's I would say without a doubt one of the worst pay-per-views.
100%.
But also, having said that, generally their pay-per-views are really, really good.
Yeah.
They are. They are.
It just sucks
great.
that the last several have been really poor. They got to get things back on track over there. I don't know what they're missing. But they're missing something big, and it's awful.
Overall, I would give it 6, average to above average.
I'm going to give it a 4. I did not like it. Did not like it. All right. That's only half the show, ladies and gentlemen.
So we will turn the page.
Turn the page.
Get rid of that.
Yeah, get rid of that garbage.
Get rid of that.
All right. It's time to do some predictions for WWE Survivor Series, which takes place in my home country of Canada.
But on the other side of the country, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm nowhere near Vancouver. Yeah, nowhere near Vancouver.
Vancouver's on the west side.
Yeah, I do know some people in Vancouver, but never been there. Never been there. Heard it's beautiful though. Heard it's gorgeous. Looking forward to this pay-per-view. It looks very hard to predict. I will say that. For only having 5 matches, this could be a tough one to win. So let's get into it. Starting off with the Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Braun Breaker defends against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser in a match that none of them can afford to lose, in my opinion, which is rough. This is another one of those matches like Bobby Lashley versus Swerve Strickland, where they're all going to hurt from a loss. And unfortunately, in this one, 2 of them are going to lose. Really only one, though, because whoever gets pinned is going to be the real crappy situation. Braun Breaker just won his championship back, so losing it already, not a great look. Sheamus is hunting for his first Intercontinental Championship for like the 80th time, I feel like.
Yep.
So him losing would also suck. It's like, oh, you lost again. How many times is this going to happen? And then Ludwig Kaiser is kind of on a losing streak and really needs a win to perk him up a little bit, to have him be more than Gunther's sidekick. So none of them can really afford the loss. But who will win? That's the question. Who will win? Any thoughts on the match? On the on anything?
The triple threat aspect of it just kind of came up within the last week.
I love triple threat matches, man. I love them.
Intercontinental title in the last few years has had some really good ones.
Oh yeah.
Going back to it,
Gunther was champion for 600 plus days.
Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus.
Yeah. Oh my God, one of the best triple threats of all time.
Yeah. Definitely one of the best matches.
Mania 39, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Man, that was epic.
Sheamus, my heart really wants Sheamus to win. Sheamus,
Me too.
Sheamus is one of the, I call it undervalued, underused, underappreciated. All Sheamus does is go out there and puts on great matches.
Banger after banger.
After banger after banger. He didn't do that. I mean, when he first started, I thought he was just so bland, but he is just such a stud.
He's in his prime right now. Absolutely in his prime.
I say he's so old, but he's been there for a long time. He's been there probably 15 years.
Yeah, it's so weird that his prime is coming this late, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's weird. But he's killing it.
Ludwig, he's trying to really set himself as a star. He's kind of been Gunther's lackey, but they really have been trying to build him up. I actually kind of want to relate it to like a Kyle Fletcher type.
Mm-hmm.
Just really trying to start building him as something legitimate instead of just a little, sidekick kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be a great match? Yeah, it's going to be a great match.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a killer. Yeah.
Kaiser can take a beating and he can dish it out. Obviously, Sheamus can too. Braun can too.
We're going to see some nasty spears in this match.
Hard hitting, a lot of chops, kicks, red welts, maybe some blood the hard way.
This is Ludwig Kaiser's first opportunity as a single star to shine.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm looking forward to this
And I
match
think he
a
will.
lot.
I think he'll shine.
I really hope so.
Unfortunately, I think he'll end up taking the pin though.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ludwig will be pinned, and I think Breaker will be the one to pin him.
I agree. I think so too.
Uh-oh. Yeah. If Breaker's gonna lose, he's gonna lose it in a one-on-one match. I can't see him losing.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a very small part of me that can see Sheamus taking the win here finally, because it's a triple threat. Sheamus could pin Ludwig, and then Breaker and Sheamus could have a feud after that
Yeah.
to get the belt back on Breaker. But I don't know. I can see Braun taking this easily.
I mean, coming out of it, when I pick, I'm thinking, what could happen afterwards.
Yeah.
If Kaiser wins, nothing. So
No.
I don't think he really has a chance. Sheamus, obviously, the story of him finally winning the Intercontinental title, winning all the titles, Grand Slam champion. Like you said, if he pins Kaiser, him and Braun can go at it again.
Yeah.
But if Braun loses and then tries to go get it back for a third time this year,
Yeah.
I think
How many
that's
times are you going to lose and regain the title?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So for that, I pick Braun.
Yeah, I can see Sheamus winning. I was very close to picking him, but I do think it makes more sense for Braun to win.
Yeah.
I have Braun for 4.
I have Braun for 2.
Ooh.
2.
All right then. Come on, Braun, give me those 2 extra points. All right. Moving on. United States Championship. LA Knight defends against the returning Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, wait. He's gone. Never mind. Rick Boogs. That was my Rick Boogs impression. I love Rick Boogs. I was so sad when he got let go. So sad. But he's injury prone, so I get it. No real story to this. It's only been built up for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Basically, Shinsuke came back out of nowhere and ambushed him, and then did it again the week after, and now he's like, "Yep, give me a title shot, you bitch."
Yeah,
that's basically it.
Pretty much
crazy. I surprisingly have Shinsuke winning this, despite it being a short build-up. LA Knight's had a nice title run, but I think it's time to take it off of him, and I think they probably see him better as a chaser than a champion, which tends to happen with babyfaces, I feel like. Plus, I feel like they need to build up their heels on SmackDown. I think we've mentioned this before. And Shinsuke is a good heel. I think he's a decent heel. I hope they give him not a better theme song, but a theme song that the crowd cannot sing to, because
I mean, if you're gonna build him up for a heel, you don't want to.
Yeah. When they did that vocal version of his theme song, I'm like, you didn't go far enough, guys. Yeah. You didn't go far enough. They still sang. So yeah, I got Shinsuke.
You got Shinsuke. Okay. I thought they were going to take, or I thought it would be a good time to take the title off Knight at Crown Jewel between Andrade and Carmelo. They didn't, and I don't see them doing it this time either.
Oh. Our first disagreement.
Not to a LA Knight or not to a Shinsuke that they just kind of brought back and really no build to it. So yeah, I got LA Knight.
All right. I've got Shinsuke for 3.
I've got LA Knight for 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn. Yeah. That could be that's the make or break right there.
Yep.
Damn.
You're right. Yep.
Oh, I did not expect that.
Yep.
Oh, come on, Shinsuke. Come on, Shinsuke. Shinsuke and Breaker. I just need you two to win, and I'm good. I'm good. All right. LA Knight. No. All right.
That's crazy that I've got Knight winning and you don't,
It's,
and I don't like Knight.
I think this is going to be one of those shock losses that they're looking for to build up a heel. That's they could be just bringing him back to boost LA Knight even further, but I don't think so. I think Shinsuke's going to take it from him and go on a heel run. But we will see. We will see. All right, next up, the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther defends against Damian Priest in a rematch from SummerSlam. Build-up's been pretty good. You know, this story makes sense. It's a rematch. You know, it's about time Damian's got his rematch.
Which wasn't just given to him; he had to earn it.
Yeah, he earned it in a fatal four-way against who was it? Dom, Sheamus, I think,
Yeah,
and someone else that I don't recall at this moment.
yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to this match. I thought they had a pretty decent match the first time, but it ended up with a lot of, you know, a dirty win. That being said, I think Gunther's keeping this.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to take take it off of Gunther yet, and two, put it back on Damian.
Yeah, I don't really know where Damian goes from this loss, though. Like, I feel like they're trying to move him away from the Judgment Day. But where do you go with him from here? That part worries me a little bit. Like, what do you do with him now? We'll have to
Yeah,
see. We'll have to see. That being said, I have Gunther for 5.
I've got Gunther for 4.
Oh, all right then. All right then. All right then. Which leads us to our first WarGames match of the night. Speaking of which, how do you feel about them having 2 WarGames matches? I'm a little against it personally. I think the women's match feels a little bit forced.
This women's match definitely feels forced.
Yeah.
Maybe last year, when it was, or the last couple of years when it's been a full team like Damage Control.
Mhm.
It makes more sense. But you've got,
Yeah, this one's Rhea, Bianca, Bailey, who is taking the place of Jade Cargill because she's, I guess, injured.
yes,
Not not sure what the injury
I guess
is.
she is legitimately injured.
Yeah. Naomi and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. I find
So
it
you've got
interesting. Yeah.
the teams consist of people from both shows,
Yeah, it's a mixed
and that's why it
thing.
feels so. That's why it feels so forced.
Yeah, plus you've got Io Sky in there who is supposed to be a heel? She's in Damage Control, is she not still?
And I guess they organically turned them face. I don't know.
Did they? And why
Who
is
was feuding with Bailey, but now they're going to be on the same team.
yeah, very weird. And why is Candice LeRae in this match?
She's kind of gotten herself involved with
I mean, I don't mind. Candice LeRae
Bailey.
is pretty good, but
Okay, if you say so.
you don't like her?
Compared to the other people in there,
No,
Rhea,
no, I mean,
Bianca,
compared to the other
Bailey.
people in there, no, I agree.
Yeah,
Well, except for Raquel.
I
I
mean
like
it's
Candice
like
better than Raquel personally.
Darby Allin being in a match with Powerhouse Hobbs and
Mm,
Claudio and Brian
yeah, yeah,
Cage and Lance
yeah,
Archer.
yeah.
You've got stars to look believable, and then you've got little, small, tiny Candice LeRae.
I will say that the two teams definitely are lopsided. I mean, on one side you've got Rhea Ripley, beast; Bianca Belair, beast; Bayley, veteran and former champion; Naomi, veteran, former champion; Io Sky, pretty much a veteran at this point, former champion. And then you've got on the other side Liv Morgan, whose star is rising, no doubt about it. Then you got Nia Jax. Sure, I guess she's champ. Whatever. Raquel Rodriguez. Tiffany Stratton. Her star is rising. And like you said, Candice LeRae. It just seems like Team Rhea is so much more beef than Team Morgan. Yeah. And yeah, the story feels a little bit forced here. I'm not a big fan of just throwing all these people in there just because, it gives us the vibe that, Hell in a Cell pay-per-views did and whatnot, where it's like, we have to have them in a Hell in a Cell. It's like, no, you didn't. You could have just had this as a Survivor Series elimination match. You didn't have to do WarGames here. That being said, I'm going with Team Rhea because I think. So here's the thing. I'm flip floppy between both these teams. I don't really know. Like I'm not confident either way. But I can see something shady happening on both sides. They wrote out Jade Cargill as being taken out by somebody, but we don't know who. So my assumption is that it's someone on Rhea's team. So it's either Bianca, Bayley, or Naomi, probably. It's one of them three. So who is it? I don't know. So one of them could turn in this match and cost Team Rhea the match. And then on the other side of things, you've got Tiffany Stratton sitting there with her briefcase still. So at any point in this match or at the end of the match, she could cash in, pin Nia Jax, or she could pin Liv Morgan at any point. And they're on their own team. Like there's I feel like there's a guaranteed tomfoolery going to happen in this match. I just don't know where it's going to come from.
Right.
So while I am going with Team Rhea, it's only 1 point because I'm so unsure of how it's going to all turn out because of all of the variables here. Personally, I think it's far more likely that we're going to see a Tiffany Stratton cash in at this match than finding out who took out Jade in a turn. I think they're going to save that for later. I think
Maybe Rikishi will come back and say that he did it for...
Did it for the people.
I don't know who. Who would he do it for? Who would he have done that for?
I did it for Naomi because she's my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what do you think?
I mean, like you, I've got Team Rhea winning. I don't necessarily think there's going to be shenanigans or chicanery or put that title down. Stop it.
I'm doing the Alexa Bliss
There
thing.
you go.
I miss her.
I don't know. I think they need, they need baby faces winning a match, winning WarGames. I don't know how a cash-in would work during the match. I mean, would that...
They tried to last year.
I mean, would that basically invalidate the entire WarGames match?
It's a good question. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway. What's really on the line in a WarGames match? Nothing.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing at stake. So I think they'll just have baby faces win, and the crowd can be happy for a little bit.
So you're going with Rhea?
I'll go Rhea. Team Rhea.
All right. Well, it can't be 1 point, can it?
I mean, it could.
How many points is it?
I haven't done my 1 point yet. It's 3.
Oh, crap. All right. Which leads us to the main event. I'm assuming will be the main event.
I would think so.
The men's WarGames match. which is Roman Reigns, Sammy Uso, Jay and Jimmy Uso, and
Sami Zayn.
CM Punk versus Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Big Bronson Reed. Yeah, I don't know where to start on this one. I'm fine. I'm so glad I finally get to talk about this. I'm putting my belt down for this one because I need to concentrate. Well, this is confusing. So you brought Bronson Reed into this. Seth's not in the match now, even though they're feuding. So what's Seth doing during all this? Don't really know. He's just not there. Okay. And Punk's been introduced to this with the return of Paul Heyman. What is happening? Why did this need to be 5-on-5? There is an answer to that question. There is an answer.
It didn't.
But I don't think we know it yet.
I mean, they absolutely could have just kept it 4-on-4.
Yeah, there was no reason to make this a 5-on-5. But there is a reason. I believe there is a reason.
Oh, sure there is. It's
What
got
is
to
it,
lead. It'll lead to something. Does Seth get involved?
Do you think Seth could get involved and turn heel? It just seems unlikely to me that he would do that.
Is Seth truly a babyface, though?
He's not. I agree he's not. But after everything he said, I'm never going to align with Roman Reigns again. And I'm never going to align with a wannabe Roman Reigns.
I mean,
so
you think the last time that we saw Seth Rollins involved with Bloodline was WrestleMania.
Mania. Yeah.
When Roman would have rather taken out Seth with a chair than hit Cody with the chair. So when Seth says, I would never team with Roman again, and I would never fight with a pretender, I absolutely believe that. Because he was going against the Bloodline. He was going against what would be Bloodline 2.0, essentially, assuming that Rock is kind of behind
the new Bloodline.
The new Bloodline.
So you are thinking that maybe Seth is going to come out and target Roman specifically?
I think he's going to target Punk.
Oh,
because since Bronson Reed got introduced to it, we never got any type of reaction from Rollins.
Yeah,
because Rollins and Reed were the last one. They were involved right before all this happened.
Now, there is also potential here for a Paul Heyman swerve.
Absolutely. You can't trust Heyman.
No, you can't trust Heyman. And he's been away for a while, and he never really explained why. It's like, why didn't you come back until now? And now you have Punk in your back pocket.
It's not, why were you away? I mean, he got put through a table.
Wasn't that a while ago, though? Like 6 months.
He's a 50-something-year-old person that's not a performer. That got put through a table.
When was that, actually? Oh yeah, it was during his reign or his brief run with the new Bloodline. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, and for him to turn on Roman Reigns, I could believe it. Because Roman left him. Roman left him with
the OG or the new Bloodline. Yeah.
Solo and Jimmy
didn't save him.
Yep.
But where does that go from? Where do we go from there?
Not that I don't want to guess and try to figure it out. I just enjoy watching it. I love seeing it play out. I like seeing it play out.
This is one of the first times where I'm like, I genuinely don't know where they're going. This is like one of those divergent points where I don't know where this, because this is a long story. This is like a soap opera basically at this point, where it's like it's just it's like 5 years long. That's this
Yeah.
bloodline story, right? But you look back at all the various points where things change in the story, and you're like, oh yeah, you can trace things back to these like points of divergence where it's like, oh okay, I see where we're going now. And this seems like it's going to be one of those points to me because I don't know where they go from here.
And you think a year ago at Survivor Series, you had the bloodline. You had Roman and that bloodline, right? You would have. There's no way you could have guessed that a year later, this bloodline is going to have Bronson Reed involved
Mm.
and CM Punk.
And CM Punk, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
So stuff happen. Stuff comes up throughout the year. People signing, people getting pushes, getting involved that you just cannot foresee a year, 6 months, or even 3 months
Yeah.
later, right? It's
What's the
just
pay per view after this one?
uh,
It's not the
they
Rumble.
don't have one in December.
No. And then January is wait,
Rumble.
no, no. February is Rumble, isn't it? So they don't have anything in January at all.
Um,
Uh, Hold on, I got it. 2025. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's Rumble February
February
1st.
1st. Yeah.
Holy. So we have a 2 month, a full 60 days basically between Survivor Series and the Royal freaking Rumble. And then it's Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. So we are on the road to WrestleMania basically.
Yeah.
This is the starting point for WrestleMania. For building to it. Holy.
Yeah.
Something big is going to happen in this match, but I genuinely can't figure out what it is. I have no idea. This is another one of those Triple H mastermind storylines where it's like there's 16 different options. Which one's he going to go with? I
And
don't know.
do we get another Rock appearance?
Does he finally make his return now or wait to the Rumble? That's the question.
Yeah. Um, I mean, you think between now and Rumble, you've got, of course, Saturday night's main event, which I don't see much happening bloodline related for that.
No.
You've got Raw on Netflix,
Oh my God, that's so close. Yeah.
January 5th, 6th,
Which
something
we
like that.
already know is got John Cena
You got
probably going to have
Cena,
The
you
Rock.
got, yeah, I would
Yeah.
assume every
Roman.
Roman, you've got every big star,
That's going to be a huge
that
Raw.
company. Yep.
I will actually watch that Raw.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, uh, man, predictions. I went, oh, man, this is tough. I went with the new Bloodline.
Okay.
I get, it's one of those things where, again, it's like, um, to continue to build them, to continue to have them be strong. Like we already know Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and Usos. Like the OG bloodline is strong. We don't need to know. We don't need to see them. We don't need a win for them to believe that they're strong. Especially when there's nothing on the line. There's nothing on the line here but pride. And with all of these unknowns, with Paul Heyman being a little suspicious, with Punk being in this match, with Seth Rollins lurking on the outside, with Rock lurking on the outside of all of this, something smells, and I don't, and I'm so stoked to find out what it is. But I think the new Bloodline will take advantage of whatever it ends up being. So I'm a new Bloodline.
Yeah. I think the original bloodline, they all can't trust each other.
Yeah, they're shaky.
Roman obviously can't trust Punk.
I can't wait for SmackDown this week to find out
Yeah.
what Punk and Roman say to each other. Like, that's crazy. It's so cool.
I'd
It's so
imagine
surreal too. Can we just take a moment to be like, CM Punk and Roman Reigns are next to each other? It's fucking crazy.
I would imagine that's going to be a pre-taped. I mean, I know SmackDown's already taped. They did a double taping last week for that.
Oh, okay.
Because Thanksgiving is here in
Yes.
America this week, so they pre-taped it. Now that segment, I would assume, is going to be a pre-tape backstage sit down
Backstage
type
segment.
thing.
Okay, that's fine. I'm still
Oh yeah,
curious
yeah.
about what it would be.
But between Paul Heyman and Punk,
Yeah.
Paul Heyman and Roman and Jay, because I still don't know if they're 100% on the same page.
Mm.
Sammy and Jimmy. Um, they're all looking at each other like, they're all looking over their shoulder at the others. I don't.
Wouldn't it be funny? Just as a thought, now that you're bringing all that up, wouldn't it be funny if they're building to a WrestleMania where like half the card is singles bloodline versus bloodline matches?
Yeah.
Sammy versus Jay, Rock versus Roman, Solo versus whoever. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many ways that they could do that. Yeah, that's
I
fun.
think something's going to happen. One of them is going to accidentally hit the other, cost the other to lose the match. I think, like you, 2.0 is going to win.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. How many points?
One. One for me.
2.
Yep.
Yeah, so it really does come down to that United States Championship match for this, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
It really does. That's a huge difference. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
that's the only one that we disagreed on.
yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Survivor Series is this Saturday, and I'm stoked. I cannot wait for that pay-per-view. It looks great on paper. Hopefully it delivers. I'm sure it will, because WWE is on fire right now. And, directly comparing it to Full Gear, I'm sure will be a night and day difference. At least I hope so.
I'm sure.
WWE is not foolproof. They can stumble, as we saw with Crown Jewel. So,
yep.
We will see. All right. Anything to add before we wrap up?
Not too much, no. Hashtag
well then,
justice for Ricky Starks. That's all I'll say.
Justice for Ricky Starks. Exactly.
Free Ricky Starks.
Yeah. He's a poor boy. See what happens with him.
Yes.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at co-op_entertain. But we would much prefer you subscribe to our YouTube channels. Please do that.
Very much.
If you want to follow me, I am TJ-Leo on BlueSky.
I am Cole2K on the X and BlueSky.
And if you want to email in your questions, comments, concerns, etc., so on and so forth, you can do so to co.op.podcast@gmail.com. Do not forget to like, do not forget to comment, do not forget to subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we will be back next week with the fallout from Survivor Series, and to see if I can retain my title for an unprecedented second time.
And if you want to chat with us during Survivor Series and weekly during the shows, get into Discord, discord.gg/Wrestling Nation Zone.
You said it. All right, this has been Wrestling Renaissance. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. It's been a long episode, but it's time to go.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.